Hey everybody, I'm Matthew, and welcome back to Nerd News Today. This time around, it's another statue review coming to us from Diamond Select, one of their Marvel Gallery pieces, their PVC figure dioramas, and this one here is a very cool piece. I feel like a lot of folks have been waiting to see this one in hand, because it's basically the combination of two of their most popular characters put together, squeezed into one amazing statue. That's what we got here today, folks. This is the Marvel Gallery Venompool PVC figure diorama. So you take one part Venom, one part Deadpool, smash them together with the symbiote, and this is what you have. And this is a big, massive, gorgeous looking piece, and I'm pretty sure it's going to please a lot of fans. So let's just get right into things right now. Before I get too far into this, I do want to talk about the size of the box here. I was actually wondering how big this Venompool was going to be. Now, I thought it was maybe going to be the size of like the Hulk we recently looked at on this channel here, the Immortal Hulk statue, which was a great piece and also enormous, and that thing weighed a ton. I'm happy to say this is still pretty mammoth, but not quite as large as that Hulk, which is great, and also it's not quite as heavy as that Hulk, which is even better. So he's still a very big boy, but he's not going to take up as much space as that Hulk, or really the other larger pieces, but he's still very much on the big end. I want to talk about the packaging real quick too, and it's the same as all the other Diamond PVC figure diorama statues. You got an enormous window on the front, which you're seeing right now, which lets you get a glimpse of what's inside of there. You've got windows on each side, so again, you get a nice preview of what's going to be in this box, as well as that signature Diamond Select sunroof. Flipping over to the back of the box, you're going to see a short little bio explaining where Venompool came from, what his deal is essentially, and that's a pretty nice, short but sweet bio, gets the job done. We also have another look at the piece outside of the box. This is a photo of the pre-production version, not what is packaged here with us today. But most importantly, the part I care about the most, I should say, and you should too, is this lets us know who made this piece. And Venompool was designed by Caesar and sculpted by Alterton. And I call those two guys the dynamic duo of Diamond Select because they do beautiful work together, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be no different. So, with that all out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox our Venompool and take a closer look at him from all angles. I can't wait. Let's go. All right, and here is our Venompool now out of the box. Let's do a quick rotation and give you guys my initial thoughts on this piece, as well as giving you guys a first look at it from every single angle possible. Wow, this is a behemoth of a statue. Like, I knew it was big, and I could tell it was big, and I told you it was big, but seeing it out of the box, you really get a feel for the enormity of this Venompool. This is a beefy boy. I love saying that on this channel. This is a beefy boy here. This is a big, bulky, massive version of Venompool, as it should be. And wow, from every angle too. There is so much great detail in this piece, a lot of texture. Man, this is one of those pieces that you get and it's just a centerpiece in your collection. And I know there's a lot of folks out there who love Venom and a lot of folks out there who love Deadpool, and neither one of them are going to be disappointed. You are totally in for a treat with this piece right here. So let's start talking about some of the finer details with Venompool. What a strange choice of words to say with a character like Venompool, but let's go ahead and I'm going to zoom in right now and let's start talking about the likeness. And, you know, it doesn't look like Venompool is normally a thing I would ask, but it's not like there's a lot of reference points for Venom or Venompool. So really, does this head sculpt look cool? Does it work? Is it him? And yeah, man, this is such a great head sculpt. It is so like, man, killer. Killer's a great choice of words, right? Wonderful detail. Look at that awesome tongue that's sticking out there. Great paint job. I love all the sort of like staple marks that are around him as well. This is such like a cool kind of like goth piece, you know, as well. You know, not just being like, you know, a cool piece in general, but something that is very edgy, very different, very violent. It's a very immediate statue in a lot of ways. I love the tongue, by the way. The tongue is like black, not just like the typical Venom red. It's more like black now because it's combining with the black colors of Deadpool's outfit. It's a very perfect facial expression too for a statue that is going to be a Venom, because you have to have that Venom grin. That's like a signature part of who Venom is, and they got that. They got all the gnarly, pointy, sharp teeth, which, by the way, actually are a little pointy. Some of them are actually kind of sharp. Go figure. The tongue, by the way, is actually a little bit softer towards the tip, but it is a little bit of a hard part there, so do be careful if you ever drop that statue. I'd be definitely worried about that tongue snapping off, but this thing is like so sturdy and solid. I don't think this is going to drop easily unless you're chucking it off a balcony somewhere. But just great amount of detail on this head alone. I think one of the parts I like the most actually about it is the fact that, you know, this is Deadpool, and one of the signature parts of Deadpool's mask is like the, I say signature, it depends who's drawing him, but, you know, the little pointy bit on the top of his head there, and that's here as well. So that's just like a fun little touch for the real hardcore Deadpool fans that know to look out for that. There it is. You've still got a little pointy bit on him. And man, this Venompool statue is so big, it's like barely standing on my base right now. So let's just zoom out a little bit and talk about some of the other parts of the statue. And I guess we'll start talking about the pose and the rest of the look of this guy, because again, he is enormous and a very, very impressive looking piece from so many different ways, so many different definitions of the way to say impressive. So yeah, the likeness is great. What about the rest of the statue here? I mean, this pose is like cool. It's almost like he's doing the Iron Man touchdown pose, but it's not. It's Venom and it's Deadpool. They're basically in like mid-combat right now, and we know this because of the chains that are kind of like sticking out this way and the chain that he has up on this arm as well. They're kind of like flinging around right now. You could see that. So to me, that reads as if he is currently using the swords and in battle and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, we know that Deadpool is not like the most muscular kind of character in the Marvel Universe, but Venom tends to be a very roidy Magoo, and this Deadpool definitely hits that up here. And again, looking at like these staple marks across his outfit, this isn't necessarily an outfit, this is more like Venom's symbiote body, and he just basically like stapled different parts of Deadpool's outfit to himself, which is a really interesting look. I mean, granted, by the way, Venom can just like make chain things, like, we saw that in the current comic, he can do that, but, however you want to call this in your headcanon, it's totally fine. It's just kind of a really cool thing. It kind of reminds me of Davi from My Hero Academia, if anybody out there watches that. So very cool to see that there. Nice little touch, just makes it a little bit extra gruesome. Again, the tongue is very cool. He's just so enormous and so muscular. Like that to me is like a really fun part of the statue as well. He's just so bulky and cool. Check out all the leg muscles he's got going on here. Even his back muscles are pretty ripped up there. Another cool thing too is this isn't just like a flat piece as far as texture goes for this Venompool. There is actually a great amount of texture. So for those of you who want to have like a little bit of tactile sensation with your piece, you'll be very, very pleased. So, as far as like the mask and the fabric parts of it, they all have a sort of raised texture to it that makes it very nice to touch and definitely sets it apart from just a smoother plastic. Whereas the Venom body itself, this is real bumpy. It's almost, I want to say, almost like a membrane around it. You can kind of see the look that it has here. It's very much like muscle and flesh, but really without the flesh. It's just pure muscle. It's like if you cut the flesh off of somebody, this is what it would look like, but just spray painted black in this case. You also have some nice texture on the chains and around his wrists, which you can see there, very nice, separates it from the rest of the piece. So, likewise across the entire body, it's just there. Even with his scabbards on his back, you'll see there's wonderful texture. So this is a very well detailed piece in many, many ways that you wouldn't normally expect a piece to be. And, one thing I always like to talk about with these pieces is the base. And this base is a real weird one, but it's very fitting, I think, for this character. It's basically a pile of symbiote goo. And you can see it now, like there's not like necessarily a ton of detail on that. And these bases tend to be usually pretty detailed, and I'll always say like how much I want them as a toy. I don't know necessarily if I want to have this as like a separate diorama piece for my action figures, but it looks really cool. It's very fitting, like just all the Venom texture on it. It's just like a ton of tendrils from a symbiote just pooling underneath Venompool. And it is both simultaneously gross and cool, and really it makes perfect sense for Venompool. I think it's a great choice. This is very far from what we typically see with these pieces, which more often these pieces tend to have like bricks or concrete or some kind of like, actual landscape, forest or something. But this time it's a little bit more abstract in some ways, and I like that. It really adds to the personality of Venompool. So yeah, definitely appreciate that. Another part I like that's really cool too, by the way, is just the swords, because these are like massive Venompool sized swords that he has here. You can see that one over there, and he's got, of course, the other one in his other hand. So yeah, he is basically ready to go, ready to kick some butt or eat some heads and whatever else Venompool is gonna do. But really, yeah, this is just a gorgeous piece from like every possible angle. I know it's also a bit hard to tell, but you might be able to see it kind of poking out there. He does still have his little Venom belt on, which is another really fun little detail. This piece is cool because it's basically combining horror elements of Venom as well as just like the comedy elements of Deadpool. So you're getting a lot of different things here. And, the comedy is there if you know where to look for it. I'd say that because of the belt buckle. I say it because of the little dangly bit on the top of his mask there. Those are like little personality parts of Deadpool that are still part of this very overwhelming Venom statue. Because really this piece is a lot more about Venom, I'd say, than Deadpool, even though Deadpool is still here. But it's a really good marriage of the two different characters into one very cool form here. Now, I gotta tell you guys, this Venompool statue will set you back a pretty penny, because Venompool is one of the larger statues from the Marvel Gallery series. Therefore, that means he's going to be more expensive. In the case of how expensive Venompool is going to be, well, the MSRP of this big guy here is 120 bucks. Now, that's essentially double the price of a normal Marvel Gallery piece. So the question now remains, is this worth spending 120 bucks on? And I would still say that, yeah, if you're a fan of Venompool and you're a fan of Deadpool or Venom or whatever, I think it's worth the price. And mind you, you're paying for a pretty large chunk of plastic here, but it's not just a large chunk of plastic. You're not just paying for that weight and that mass. You're paying for a great amount of detail, sculpting prowess from these designers, again, from Caesar and Alterton. Great job from both of them on this piece here. Very iconic Venompool piece. And here's the thing too, folks. You're not going to get many Venompool pieces out there. This is probably going to be it. I don't think there's been, I mean, maybe like a single action figure, maybe, I think, of Venompool. I don't even think there is. I don't quite remember, but not a lot of merch for this character, for this very unique take on two characters, rather. So I think it is worth it. And, you know, I talked about the heaviness of it too. It's heavy, but it's not nearly as heavy as like that Hulk was that we did a while ago. I can now tell you, holding it in my hand, that Immortal Hulk was so hefty. It's still got a pretty good amount of weight to it, but it's a lot lighter. It's a lot easier to handle, and also because the way it is kind of like squashed down a little bit. It's in this kind of, lunging pose with the knee on the ground. It makes it also a little bit smaller too, which is good. That means it's going to be a lot easier to fit in a glass case if you put it in glass cases, or just, it won't take up as much space basically as that Hulk did. And that Hulk was great, mind you. I'm not saying bad things about the Hulk. I like that piece a lot. I recommend you check out the video if you haven't seen it and don't know what I'm talking about. But I think the Venompool is on par with that Hulk, possibly, I don't want to say a better piece, but I'm going to say just on par for now. How about we just do that, because I don't want to compare the two. But I like them both a ton, and I think you will also. So if you want to pick up this Venompool for yourself, go ahead and check out my Amazon affiliate links in the description for this video below. If you buy this Venompool or anything else from Amazon using that link, it helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. If you already own this Venompool, let me know what you think about it and what you like or don't like about it. And with that all said, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys here next time with more statue reviews and everything else we do on this channel.